Okay, so we're going to look at rotation of axes, and what we want to try to find out is want to try to find the equations for rotating the coordinates of the axis. Okay, so when we are talking about the ellipse, the parabola, the hyperbola, including the circle itself, the general equation, of course, not the standard equation that we were looking at, was one that was in the form a x squared plus cy squared plus dx plus ey plus f is equals to 0. Okay, so so far this is the equation that we have been using, and what we're able to observe is that general equation in this general equation, what we are missing is the xy term. Okay, so and you can try to say we can try to see to say we have a c d e f. We don't have a then b on the middle, so it basically means the bx term has been missing all this while, and basically means the the it's because the axes that we have were parallel to the coordinate axis. Okay, so it's more like let's say let's use an ellipse for as an example. Let's say an ellipse was somewhere here, something like that. Okay, meaning the origin for this one is at I mean the center is at the origin. So you understand to say we were able to shift this we're able to translate the coordinates of this ellipse. We bring it maybe at this point, you can put it at that point, you can put it here, you can put it anywhere. But what we want to try to find out is now that what if we try to rotate it, maybe it becomes um, like that. Okay, so all this while all we have done is just to shift it, either going upward, going this side, coming down, going the other side, and it all depends on the change in the values of what, of the center, which are what, are hk. All right, but in this case we want to like try to rotate it at an angle. Okay, and that's where the bx term has to be involved, and we have to try to eliminate it to really find out what equation what exactly equation do we have. Is it for the ellipse, the parabola, the circle, or the hyperbola? Okay, so what we want to find out in this video is how do we come up with those equations for rotating the coordinates of the axis. Okay, of course you can be just given as someone just gives you, okay, this is x is equals to this and that, but want to try to understand what really happens. How do we get those equations? How are they connected to the graph, such a graph, because this is the basic one that we will use. And how do we come up with those equations? Okay, so what I'd want you to find out is, or what I'd want you to know, to have in mind, is that here I've used x prime. You find that in some other books or some other tutorials they have used capital letter or uppercase x. Here they have used uppercase y. It doesn't really matter as long as you're able to differentiate between the 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 axis that have been rotated and the axis that's just a basic one, which is what, which is this one here. So it's basically up to you. Okay, as long as you know that, say they are what, they are different. If you put them the same, the coordinates will just appear the same, and you could have done a lot of nothing. Okay, so I'll start with x. Right, so what I'd also want to have here is that I want to give myself the angles. So the angle that I have here, I'll name this as my what, my theta, like that. Okay, so that's my theta there. Then here I'll say this is my alpha. Right, those two angles. So here what we have is a point r. Okay, and this point r has two coordinates. It has a coordinates for the x prime, y prime axis, and it also has the coordinates for x and y. Okay, so for the for theta, what are the equations, and for alpha, what are the equations? And hence that's what we need to find out here. Okay, so our x, okay, our x our x is going to be equals to r. Okay, some may use p, may use m, it means one and the same thing. Our x is equals to r cos open bracket, the angles that we have is theta plus what, plus the alpha. All right, then our y is equals to um, our y is equals to r sine theta plus alpha. That's what we have. Okay, so before you even go any further, it's also very important that we get back to the basics of trigonometry, the identities, the sum and difference angle formulas, all those. We have to bring them, we have to utilize them now, of which here we can also relate r cos open bracket theta plus alpha. We can relate it as where we have x is equals to r cos theta cos alpha plus r sine um, r sine theta sine alpha, and we do the same for the what, for the y. So our y will be equals to r sine theta cos alpha plus, of course, I think this would be a minus, not really a plus for this one. Okay, so we're going to have a minus here, then this one is a plus. Then we're going to have r cos theta sine alpha, like that. Okay, so we are not really done yet here. These are not really the main equations for the rotating the coordinate axis. So what I'd want to find also is the x prime and the y prime. So my x prime will be equals to my r cos theta. Then my y prime will be equals to my what? My r sine theta. So what will happen in this case is that what I have here as my r cos theta, I want to try to search in these two equations for y and x where there is r cos theta are replaced with x prime. So here I have my what? My r cos theta. Okay, and here I also have my what? My r cos theta. So it basically means where there's r cos theta here we replace with what? X prime, and even here we have what? X prime. Then we get to r sine theta. So I have r sine theta here. I'll check in those two equations where there's r sine theta. I have to replace with what? Y prime. So I have r sine theta here, and I also have r sine theta here. So here I'm going to replace with what? Y prime. Even here what? Y prime. Hence for x, okay, for x the equation that we are going to have is x is equals to x prime cos theta minus y prime sine theta. Then for y will be equals to what? Y prime cos theta plus x prime, about x prime there, x prime sine alpha, like that. Of course, I was using theta, but I'm writing alpha, but that's the way it is. Okay, so those are the two equations that we have for x and what? X and y. All right. So there we have it. We have our x is equals to x prime cos alpha minus y prime sine alpha. So y will be equals to y prime cos alpha plus x prime sine alpha, like that. Okay, so for the x prime and the y prime, these two equations that we have here, we'll not just leave them the way they are. We have to do some gymnastics on what you already have here. So to make my work simple, what I'd want to do is that I'd want to put up some new points for myself. I'll name each and every point, I'll give it some letter so that at least I'll be able to connect properly. Okay, so the first thing I'd want to do is that I'd want to extend some lines. I'll do that. Okay, I'll use dotted lines like that. Even here I do the same, like that. Okay, so something else I'd also want to do is that I have to name this as my 0. This is my starting point. That's my 0 there. So I have to put a line that is parallel to 0, or the line that a line that is parallel to x prime. So meaning it has to pass somewhere here. Pass somewhere here, like that. Then I'm have to extend this one here, like that. Okay, then they meet at that point. All right, and remember to say when you use your ruler, everything that you're able to access, you're going to find that this will be much better compared to mine. Things will be straight, accurate, and stuff. So here, I would also want to put up a line, okay, coming like that. Then that's also what, a 90 degrees angle there. Okay, so what letters do I use? So for this one, I'm going to use A. Here I'm going to use M. Then for this point that we have here, this point here, I'll leave it as my I'll leave it as I think instead of me using R, let me use B. Okay, let me name this point as point B here. Of course, I know I used R earlier, but let me leave it as B. Then this point here, I'll name it as my N. This point that we have here. Then this point here, I'll name it as my C. Then I'll name this as my F. Then this as my E. Okay, then this as my D here. What point am I talking about? That point there. Okay, so want to really understand what the expansion of x prime as well as for y prime is coming from. It's not just coming from nowhere. Remember to say, when it comes to mathematics, things don't just come. They don't just come out of the blue and stuff. They really come from somewhere, and that's what we really want to understand, because you may be given this equation to say, okay, now y is equals to y prime cos alpha plus x prime sine alpha. You can master it there and then, but what happens if you forget? It becomes a very uncomfortable situation. But if you really know where it came from, how it comes about, it becomes easy such that you're able to derive it for yourself and use it. Okay, and that's what we are focusing on in this video. Then here we have to, there are some things that we have to know. It's there are just some concepts that we have to keep in mind. Is that the fact that I have alpha here, okay, even here it basically means that this is alpha. Okay, that's alpha. So because at this angle that I have here, this is basically 90 degrees minus alpha. Okay, and since I have 90 degrees here, this is the same as 90 degrees minus alpha, meaning this is alpha here, because this angle that I have here and this angle that I have here, we call them, they are vertically opposite angles. So if I have 90 degrees minus alpha here, meaning even here is 90 degrees minus alpha, making that angle to be alpha as well. So those are some of the things that we really have to keep in mind, yeah, for us to really get where we want to go. So what do we have here? Okay, so what we need to keep in mind is that your MB, okay, your MB is equals to your 0F, and this is basically equals to what? Your X. Okay, so from M to B here, this is equals to what? 0 to F, and the value that we have is what? Is X. Okay, that is kind of straightforward. Then your M to 0 is also equals to what? Your B to F, which is equals to what? Your Y. Okay, that's our Y like that. So this side and this side are equal, and they are equals to what? To Y. Alright, then what else do we need to know here, or what we need to have is the fact that my AD, okay, from A to D, so you can say our AD is equals to from A to D is equals to our BC. Okay, is equals to our BC like that. Okay, then what else do we have to know? Our AB is equals to what? Our DC. So this side and this side are equal, as well as this side and this side are also what? Are also equal. All right. So one fact that we also have to know about the AB, okay, about AB and DC relationship is the fact that this is also equals to, we can also write it as what? As DF plus what? FC. Or we can also say it's OE plus what? EN. It's still one and the same thing, because ON and DC, they are what? They are equal. Right. So all these small things that we are writing here, they are going to make things easier. They're going to give us what we are looking for. Okay. So now I have to know I have to know what I already have and what I don't have, because you cannot really get anywhere if you don't know what you have and you don't know what you don't have. So I have things such as my bn. Okay, my bn here is basically equals to what? My bn meaning from b to n here is y of theta here. This is basically your y prime. Okay, which is equals to what? R sine what? Sine theta. Okay, that is your r sine theta, like that. Then what else do we have to know? Our bn is r sine theta. Then our on, okay, I mean 0 to n, this is um, x prime uh, x prime cos theta. Okay, we say r cos what? Cos theta there. So our x prime is equals to r cos theta, which is our on. Then our what's this? Our bn is y prime, which is equals to r sine theta. Okay, so what I'm interested in for us to find is what is our df. Okay, what is the relationship between df and oe or 0e? So we have to know what OF is, and we have been told to say our OF is what? Is x here. Okay, and we have our alpha here. So it basically means here our 0 to e is equals to x cos what? S cos what? Cos alpha, like that. That's what we have. Okay, so our OE, we have our alpha here and we have our x here. So our OE is just x of what? Is just x cos alpha of the x, which is our OF. Okay, then I also have to find in advance um, what my FC is. Okay, I want to find what my FC is. Okay, our FC, we have to know that our FC is also equals to EN. So our FC is basically means it's the x side, I mean it's the y side of what? Of FB. Okay, so it basically means it's BF sine what? Sine alpha. Remember to say we have an alpha angle here. Okay, and what is our BF? We have said our BF is what? Is y. So this is y sine what? Sine alpha. So now we have our what? We have this one here, and we have what? We have this one here. What's the relationship? I have what is from this point to that point. So at this point I have x cos alpha. Then here I have what? I have y sine alpha. What are the relationship here? What is the relationship between those two? So what you have to keep in mind is that your AB, we have said our AB, okay, our AB is equals to our AB here is equals to DF plus what? Plus FC. Okay, so meaning our AB is equals to our DF, we have found x cos what? Cos alpha, plus our FC, we have found what? Y sine alpha. So now, what is our AB in this case? What is our AB? So our AB, we have found out that our AB is just what? Is just our AB is just equals to what? Um, is just equals to R, okay? R cos what? R cos theta. Okay, and what is our R cos theta? Our R cos theta is what? Is x prime, like that. Okay, so here what do we have? We are going to have now that our x prime will be equals to what? X cos alpha plus what? Y sine alpha, like that. So we have worked on this one. What is remaining is what is for us to work on what? On the y prime, like that. Okay, so now we can now have what we are looking for. Okay, so now we say our x prime is equals to x cos alpha plus y sine alpha, like that. So what is remaining for us now to find what? The y prime. Okay, of course this can get a little confusing because you have a lot of angles to deal with, a lot of sides to consider, but if you take things step by step, you really get to the destination that you're looking for. Okay, so now how do we get to find what our y side is? Okay, so our y side, which is y prime is equals to r sine theta. um, this is equals to something like this. We should know that our y prime is equals to our bn. Okay, it equals to our bn. All right, it equals to our bn, which is also equals to bc. Okay, bc minus our nc. Okay, minus our nc. So all we have to know is that our y prime is equals to what? Our bc minus our nc. Okay, so what then the question is that what is our bc and what is our what is our nc? So to find our nc, I'll try to find the nc in advance. Nc here, this part, our nc is equals to what? Is also equals to what? EF. So if I find what EF is, I could have found what my NC is. And what is our EF in this case? So our EF, we get it from this right angle triangle that is here, and we know to say our EF is just y of that one. So we can say our EF is equals to um, x um, x sine what? X sine alpha. Okay, so and we know to say our EF is equals to what? Our NC, which is now equals to what? X sine alpha, like that. Then what is our BC? Our BC, okay, from B to C here, this is just the x side of BF. So our BC here, you can say our BC is equals to BF, BF cos what? BF cos alpha. And the question is that what is our BF? Okay, our BF, we have said our BF, which is this one here, is what? Is y. So our BC is equals to y cos alpha, like that. Hence giving us to say our y prime is equals to, we have found that our BC is y cos alpha. Then we're going to say minus our NC. Hence we found what? X sine what? Sine alpha, which is what we are looking for. So now we have all the equations that we are looking for. They're going to help us in terms of rotating of coordinate axes. Okay, so now we have all the four equations. Here we have our x prime. To put it in that way. Okay, we have our x prime being equals to x cos alpha plus y sine alpha, like that. Then your y prime will be equals to your x cos alpha minus your x sine alpha. And sometimes for the y prime, you might find that they have written it as minus x sine alpha plus y cos alpha. Is still one and the same thing. And let me say this once again. On the alpha part, you can either use a theta or an alpha. It's up to you, but as long as what we mean is the angle. So on this sketch that we have here, these are the four equations that we're able to do what, that we're able to find. Then these equations, as I say, they don't come from anywhere. Okay, they come from the work that we are doing on this sketching here, and understanding how those small sides and angles are related to each other. That's how we are able to get what, these four equations. Okay, so that's all in finding the equations of rotating the coordinate axis. Thank you very much for watching.